Welcome everybody to the WBC Podcast, episode 2. We're going around the table. We got expert opinions combined with expert entertainment, and definitely some interesting conversations. So, welcome to the family. Appreciate y'all being here. I ain't say none of that.
He ain't gonna have no choice.
I gotta
go to work.
I got a strong against that. I ain't never been vaccinated. Well, I have for the school stuff, but like flu shot and stuff like that, I ain't never got a flu shot in my life.
Let me just address that comment.
If they ask me, are you going to take this vaccine or get another job? I'm strongly considering that vaccine if I got to get another job.
But that's what I said. I want to address that comment Hassan said. As a man, you always have a choice. Nigga, just plain.
You trying to feed some mouths.
Right. Yeah.
If you gotta feed some mouths.
I'm not enthusiastic about taking no vaccine for sure. And I definitely don't want to be first in line. Now, I have taken the school vaccines in terms of whatever is polio, or measles, mumps, whatever that stuff is. Yeah. I've taken that stuff. And if it comes down to where this vaccine ends up being like that, I would probably do it to keep my job.
Absolutely.
Got to, man.
To keep your job.
So what you telling me in your answer, you don't know the difference between old vaccines and mRNA vaccines and the true technical difference in how they operate and how they work within you. That's all I hear. So I'm cool with you.
Don't make those words.
But if you don't make that choice on the sound decision, then that's all you.
Yeah, I don't know all that. What I have heard some people, in terms of what they think about the vaccine, Black people talking about how they feel there's a miseducation to make Black people more susceptible to it. So I done heard both sides of it. In different ways broken down. I can't tell you that I know the exact science and what this is for. I do know that this joker was rushed through, and for what they normally would have to steps that they would normally have to take to push a vaccine or something like that through, they cut that down by a substantial amount to my understanding, and that makes me susceptible. But when it comes to, are we gonna find a different way of living, or am I gonna conform to be able to keep my job? Because they're saying like nurses were first, not nurses, but medical people were first. No, like the medical people on the front line were first, and then they had old people, right. And then they're saying now educators, people.
That's the way it is for the rest of the country. Is in that order.
Now it's school systems next. So we coming up, if you're working in the district.
The order is different.
And now you can see it where right now there's a way to do the hybrid. So you could say, I'm not doing it, and you'll be one of the people at home that are still doing your job. And then there'll be
they ain't making the teachers go back.
But there's going to be a point where they might.
You damn right.
There's going to be a point.
But
there's gonna come a time where
you know what that point is.
If you're around any kids, got coaching, school,
you're gonna have
to have it.
Oh yeah, if you're gonna be around kids,
right? They're gonna make the adults have it before the kids. They said the kids don't have it.
You gotta make.
Yeah, but they ain't gonna be able to make it all happen until they got a large percentage of the kids and parents on board. Like, because it ain't
enough kids.
Employees, us, they can tell us whatever the hell they want to tell us down there.
Well, what do you mean, on board for going back to school, or on board for the vaccine?
In person.
Or on board for the vaccine?
Well, kind of both. Like, I mean, because the ultimate thing, the vaccine is one thing, but they just want people back in the building. Like, I don't even think they gonna necessarily. I don't know if they can require that all kids take the vaccine. I don't know.
No, they said they can.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They said it's gonna be kids that haven't taken the vaccine that's making teachers and everybody else susceptible to it.
Right. But they're gonna be able to make the teachers if the kids and them all decide we're gonna come back whether vaccinated or not.
And eventually they will, just like they have the measles and mumps where you can't get into public school. You can go to private school or something different, but you can't get into public school without doing those different vaccines. I bet you eventually they're gonna make it like that. You can't work or go to public school without taking that.
Say that like you proud. You say that.
Don't be putting that in my mouth. No, don't be putting that in my mouth. I ain't say none of that. I'm telling you what I think they're gonna end up doing. That's all that is.
On that like that. Like my whole thing is just get knowledgeable. I asked a simple question and this led into a whole sporadic thing of comments about what they say and what might happen. Get knowledgeable about what is happening and what is going down so you can make an informed decision. That's period, point blank. Too many motherfuckers. And then like what you said, Earl, when they get people on board, then they're going to be able to easily push this shit. But the fucked up part about it is all the people on board is in the same boat as y'all that don't have the true understanding of what's going on. They just in a fear state thinking, oh, this, or I got to be hostage to keep my job and keep a roof over my head. So it's for the wrong decisions that you make in the decision unless you get informed. And that's just what it is. Why would you not take
the only thing with that though is that like
more into the decision.
That's like on some with your folks personal one on intimate stuff, because if you're trying to inform on like a mass level, folks there ain't enough time.
I ain't say nothing about mass level.
Yeah, I'm talking for all of us.
Individual.
Yeah, for us right here.
The world. I'm sitting here with 4 young men that I asked a question to, and I heard a response. So when I speak, I'm clear about what I'm saying.
Sure.
Don't take it out of proportion. Don't take it out the stratosphere.
There's gonna
be like that. That my thing is like for like we was having the conversation, and then you came in, and then you asked a question. Like, but you didn't know we was already talking about that. And then so when you asked the question, it just kind of like, I was hearing it and I was thinking like to myself that the informed decision that I'm making is that I know that I don't know enough about the vaccine, but I know that things are being pushed to open back up. Now, whether you're for or against, Democrat or Republican, whatever your side is on the vaccine, and not just saying the vaccine, we're talking about the coronavirus, because that's what it's really all about. What are you gonna do at this point now that they is close to mandating it in a lot of places? What you gonna do? And so now we're talking about. I think they were saying like Hassan was making a statement that, because which is true, that Haas is a living legend with it, is that you ain't got to do shit. I mean, you can do your own shit and figure some other stuff out. So it ain't like you got to go do the public service 9 to 5 joint, because at some point all of us is gonna make some decisions, like you say, as men, because you don't live on this earth forever no damn way. So at some point, as you keep going, you're gonna make some decisions that's outside the norm or the box, or that ain't the number one choice, like we talked about before. My 51-49 theory, just shit, I don't believe in that nothing of nothing. You know what I'm saying? So like everything is a balancing act. So
I hate it a little bit less.
Right?
Hey,
so I'm definitely gonna sign up for my check.
That's what I mean. And my thing is we make decisions for different reasons. Now, if it came down to where, like you said, where the wrong factor being money, I agree. I would love to be in a situation where I could support myself financially and I ain't got to worry about whatever career or job, whatever they say about anything. I just make my own decision about that stuff. Just ain't there yet. And now to jump out the window and say, I'm not going to work there no more. I got more on the line having kids and a family than just being able to trust myself, being able to land on my feet. You know what I mean? So it's more of a decision to just say, I disagree. I'm informed now. I know what it's doing, and I disagree with the outcome of it. And now I'm just gonna say no. Like I got more into that decision. You know what I mean? And so it's
I damn sure disagree with
yeah, I ain't with all nobody, that. I ain't never been no vaccine or flu shot type of thing, man.
Who want to be first in line?
Don't nobody want to take
none of that.
Yeah, I already told my doctors early on. I said, I'll can I wait a year or two before I have to take it? You know what I'm saying? Because they already gonna try to make everybody take it, and for me, it's a decision on. All I got to worry about is if I'm gonna coach basketball or not. And so for me, it's an easy decision. I ain't gonna coach basketball if they tell me I gotta do this. I'm done.
Right. Well, in an ideal world, if they get enough people out there to take it, and they say they didn't got what they call the herd immunity or whatever that is, to where it's not transmitting at the rate or whatever, and it's like under some type of control. And then if they all do it, and then I ain't got to do it, or we ain't got to do it, that would be ideal. And then quit transmitting.
They're gonna make coaches do it. They're gonna make coaches.
The biggest thing that they still have not been promoting though is make some better choices and get healthier, build your immune systems up, so that if you do get it, you're gonna be able to fight it off better. Because really, the people it's attacking are the people with weaker immune systems. So why not promote?
They ain't gonna say that.
Healthy habits and better choices.
Why you think they ain't saying that?
Yeah, that ain't American history.
They want people to do the vaccine, I think.
Yeah.
They want people to social distance.
Right.
They want you to conform to all the surface stuff that they saying.
It's America, man. Everything's about capitalism. Right. Everything. How can we capitalize on the people in this country? Through medication, through different drugs.
And control.
And control whatever they can. It's all through capitalism, man. And that's like, it's a cold thing. Cold thing. It's about, they like drug dealers. Drug dealers are the biggest capitalists in the world.
One elephant in the room, man. What y'all thinking about the Harden trade?
Oh, I thought you was gonna say well, that's a big one. I thought you were talking about the elephant in the room. I thought you were gonna talk about man, how life be doing this, man, and the loss of Big Blast this week.
Who? Oh, who? Wait, whoa, what?
You didn't know that?
Which one? Big
Neil
Blast?
Blast game. He passed away. Yeah.
Oh.
What happened?
That's what I thought you meant the elephant in the room was.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. Talking about Blast.
Oh, man.
Yeah, man.
What was it? What was it from?
Nobody know, man.
I already had a heart attack.
Yeah, that's something like that.
I was working out or something like that.
Wasn't he in the fitness?
Man, I showed you. That's the dude. Remember I showed you when you was up here? And I was like, man, this dude, he been doing it. He for real. I showed you some
Blast was about his physical fitness like no other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about 20 years.
Bodybuilder.
Yeah. 20, 25, 30
years. Man. And a heart attack and done.
Eating right, physically fit, like in some of the tip-toppest shape you'll ever see.
Hey, man, that tell you right there,
From the
man.
outside. From the outside, man, he was like the epitome of what we, the health image.
Right. That's what I would think is the most healthiest man.
Right. Man. Well, in the cold part is his brother just passed 6 months ago.
Right.
Well, whoa.
Yeah, Nick Blast again. You remember
the younger man. What?
Right. Where you been, Daniel?
Yeah, Daniel stay over here on the other side of the world.
Where did he pass from?
Like some nobody know, something weird, like something that he just got sick and had to go to the hospital and pass.
That's why I said which one, because I didn't know if it was Neil or Nick.
They both gone.
Damn. And Neil was like a year or two older than us. Nick was under us.
Right.
He was younger than us.
Right. They said Neil was 47.
Man. Yep. And how old was Nick when he died?
Like 39, 40.
In his 30s, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cold thing, man. That's that life, man.
Yeah.
You know, here today, and it's like at any time, man. That's why we just gotta thankful as much as we can.
Absolutely.
That's cold right there. Yeah, I didn't know you didn't hear that one.
I mean, just hearing that because he
But
was
that's like
a fitness guru.
That like kind of go to my point about everything, man. Whether it's working out, fitness, or whatever is your thing, man. Ultimately, none of us live forever, and so like whatever you're doing, you got to be connected to it, where it's like something that's bigger than just like how we would say, I'm working out so I can lose weight, because I want to just be, it's more like a fitness for life type stuff, other than I'm just trying to lose this
lifestyle. Exactly.
Or whatever it is. And so like whatever you connected to, because ultimately life is the passion of it. Just like, and I remember when I watched one of the first episode of what you guys were doing, and somebody was saying something like never retire or something like that, or
ain't no retirement.
Like if you use it or lose it and stuff like that, that I think about that stuff, man, because it's like you don't ever really retire.
It's all relative.
Like that's
all
like you retire when you're dead.
Exactly. We still alive.
So I just think about all that stuff, man, because it ain't no blueprint to, if I work out this much or do this, I'm gonna get to live forever. Like you still might, if it's that time, we know that last year was cold, and there was a lot of people, man, checking out and stuff.
You don't know when your ticket is punched, man.
You don't know,
time.
man. So you do the best you can.
I don't know if y'all knew my boy.
You're right, but you know what? Here's the cold part. If you a coach, you don't approach it like, well, I'm gonna do all this work and put my team in the best position, because I know even if I do all those things, there's still a chance, we could fall short, or that we won't win a championship, or whatever our goals may be. But you put yourself in the best position, regardless of not knowing or not, because you know that putting yourself in the best position gives you the best chances to have success. So it's the same thing with your health and your lifestyle. A lot of people look at that shit and say, oh, well, we're gonna die anyway, and that's a fucking losing mentality. Someone that don't want to get better on themselves, so they're gonna accept their own toxicity and just ride it out. When you could be like, yo, all right, yeah, he worked out, he's the epitome of this, and he passed whatever, but I care about myself, and I want to give myself the best chance, regardless of whatever that is. Because, shit, whether you work out or not, we don't know. You might be able to go tomorrow, or you might go another 10, 50 years. But we know that putting ourselves in the best, so it's with all things. The principles permeate across the board.
Absolutely.
Right?
And it gets back to the quality of life. Because I'll be honest, there's some people that, like, they ain't tripping as much if they did check out. Like, some people ain't tripping as much. They just check out, But in terms of while you're here, having whatever quality of life that you expect or that you're capable of, and then even bigger than that, what are you passing on as that quality of life? And being able to have people observe you and what you're doing and want to catch on to some things, whether you say something to them or not. And that's some shit, like I give IG credit coming up here with my son Dalen, where he came up here with that vegan shit, and I ain't rolling with it all the way. I know I recognize some of the health shit behind it, but then my son, just by watching him, started doing some pescatarian. So he was doing all veggie stuff and then still eating fish. And just by observing, you know what I mean? So in terms of what we can pass on, like that's big. And then the quality of life that we're able to have for the time that we're here. But no, I agree, man. That's something that You don't never. That's what I mean by ain't no retirement. How do we just give in because we ain't playing games no more and say I'm not going to motivate myself to be in the type of shape I used to be able to motivate myself to get in? Like, why is that? Why does that dynamic disappear?
All the time when I was playing, I used to watch players be like done, retired, finished, and I watched their body deteriorate. I watched that
almost
shit
immediately
and change, you know, within the course of a short time period.
Quick.
And it's almost like they almost feel like here's a mentality. You in America, quote unquote, you're supposed to go to work, you know what I'm saying, grind for your whole time, you retire, now you done, you know what I'm saying, walk off into the sunset. People that have played high level sports almost take that same kind of mentality, whether they only go high school, college, or pro. Once they finish, they feel like they don't need to work out, like they didn't make no connections to all that preparation as it does to
the
real
motivation
life.
Ain't the same.
Right.
They ain't got the same end to justify the means.
Right. No,
And
but
it
that's
was like for life. My
But
end is life.
Here's
Instead
that
of a
point I was
game.
about to make. They fail to make that connection to real life. Like, you don't stop as a human just because you stop one endeavor.
Absolutely.
And you didn't realize it. You ain't gotta train like high level athlete. You just gotta but it's funny, it's already in us. But a lot of people just push that shit to the side like that's an old chapter in their life. And then they be having these
That's the
issues.
retirement. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the retirement. Ain't no retirement, man. And that's what I was saying before, where it ain't even like you got to do the same intensity of what you did before, the same number, but just the consistency of doing something.
yeah.
Now, when you talk about that, you talk about modeling for the next generation of people coming after you and under you, your own children. You see, like, that's a strong tool, to a visual to be able to put in front of your child, to show him that shit, I ain't, just because I don't hoop, you can know my legend, you can know my past, but what you know me now, you still see I'm a physical, active dude that is self-loving, that's self-maintaining. You see what I'm saying? Are these the tools we want to put on our kids' belt? Or we want to put on the, you know, we want to put on their belt some other things that's less substantial and fleeting.
Right. Right.
No, I think that all this stuff is on all the way on the up and up, and the average person would I can't see them not agreeing. I think that the challenge again is like, why don't people do it?
Yeah.
And then so like when you start asking the why,
barriers.
you going, whether as you get older, which we all know, we talking about again, then there's 24 hours in a day, right? And so now what you are, what you decide to do with your time, whether that time is with family, whether that time is 9-to-5 job, whether that time is sleep, whether that time is like whatever that is,
always a reason.
Your priorities and your time, because there's only 24 hours in the day, and then whether that's a chill, I want to kick it, whatever it is that you do. And so I think that that why is something that people kind of got to look at themselves, because when it's all said and done, and that's why I'm saying, like, it got to be bigger than just I'm losing. Like I say it to my mom all the time, and I'll say it to her, and she do way more stuff than me. She be but she's retired also, but she's but that ain't no excuse. She also older, but she's lemon water drinking. Hell, before the pandemic was done, I mean, Mac, you probably seen her up at the Charles Jordan in every little class that she can be in, just doing it. And I'm like, I think that that's some of the stuff that kind of, to me, how do you get to that point before you get old? You know, because everybody can talk about, like, you feel like when you in retirement, you know, then your job becomes your health. But like that should probably already be practiced and established before you get retired, because it's probably gonna make that more enjoyable.
Nah, and I think that's ironic. You said it about the barriers of what's stopping people from doing that. That's something that was one of my topics to be able to talk about today, where even as athletes, before you retire as a active athlete, or as a person afterward, what are the barriers that keep people from doing that? Like you said, most people, when you ask them these questions, they're going to agree. They're going to say this is better. They think that's going to be more valuable or greater good. But then there's some barriers that keep you from doing that. I contest that we were close to the Mamba mentality growing up in terms of what we were willing to do, and some of the stuff that I hear, the Mamba mentality or people that made it, what they did growing up, and how they practice, and what some of the stuff they were doing. They go to practice and then go play, and then try to find some more playing, and then do some, like, there was so many things along that line that we were doing, but there was still barriers where I know I didn't maximize what I knew was the right thing to do. You know what I mean? There was still times where I know this choice is better, and I love the hoop. I would love to do it. I love the outcome. I know the outcome, but I still choose this whatever reason for. Right. There's this barrier there that I didn't maximize it. Going back, you always say if I could do it again, I know exactly what man. Just give me one more turn. I know exactly what to do. But at that time, whatever those barriers are, and now it's relative. That dynamic doesn't leave relative to where we are now. Barriers and reasons for I know this, I should be doing this. Why? What are those barriers? And that actually, when I was doing my doctorate, that was what my thesis was going to be. What are the barriers, and why do those exist when people pursuing good health or healthy lifestyle habits?
Can I answer that? Can I give an answer to that?
Absolutely.
Lack of knowledge of self. In all things that we do, like your car, you don't never ever mistakenly give it the wrong fluids. You understand how to maintain it, the schedule that it needs to be, because you understand that what it is. All your technological components, okay, whether it's a gun or a TV or whatever. We understand what these things are, how they operate in their nature, and therefore we maintain them accordingly. The human being, a lot of human beings don't, you hear this question, what is my purpose? What are we doing here? I don't even know what the fuck. So a lot of people don't have no knowledge of who they are, what they are, therefore how to go about maintaining it. And we all get programmed from the same shit, from the top down, and influence on doing it a certain way that goes against who we are. So that's why we see so many people out here confused, so many people out here with ailments, because a lot of people not in balance with nature, with themselves, which they come from. Okay, you hear a lot of motherfucking religious people go to church and then come out 6 days in the world and live by the world. But one of the main things the Bible say is don't be of the world. Interesting. So how can you not be something of that which you shouldn't be of unless you know what you should be a part of? And the only way to do so is to know who you are, that where you come from. Okay? Knowledge, information, historical information from your ancestor. Okay, ancestry. But even still, just to the bare minimum essence of who you are as an electromagnetic being, living in an electromagnetic universe, and we manifest things. This whole thing is frequency and energy. So people live up day to day for 50, 60, 70 years and never come to that understanding. They go a whole lifetime.
Let me ask you a question.
Getting money, having fun, doing this, never truly know what the essence of what they are, what this thing is, and how it works.
Yeah. Now let me ask you a question. That understanding that we've come into, I know you wasn't there when we was living together. What would it have took to get you, even before that, at a younger age to get to some of that understanding. Because really, like I said, we go back and do it again. I think we all know some things that we would do over again at that age. I mean, we are where we are now. We can still apply it now. But if we're going back, what can we give to somebody to get them past them barriers? Like, what would it have took for you to get past that barrier at that time to come into that understanding?
Every human, I believe, comes into their own understanding at their own time. Whether it's some type of trauma, whether it's through experience, trial and error, some type of moment that happens that just flips the white light switch. For myself, I don't know what could I have done to change myself. One thing I know about myself back then, even though I wasn't in the vibration I'm in now, I've always been a knowledge seeker. Since I unsubscribed from mainstream religion when I was 12 or 13, one of my main things was to seek knowledge about what's going on, find truth, find information.
Right.
So back then was preparing me for where I am now. That's the cold part. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What? I got a question for you, IG.
Yeah.
Because there's like to me, like with all of us, and I mean a lot of these topics, there's so many moving parts to it that it's heavy. Yeah. There's a lot of moving parts. So if I was to isolate just one area of something that I personally think that is, it's like, to me, it's the way that like the right way, but like it ain't the popular thing per se, because everybody don't do it, and that's like eating habits.
Yeah.
Man,
right.
So nail on the head.
So what I'm asking, so my question to you is this: is like kind of going on, like just using eating habits as just one small piece of like this big puzzle of life, right? What was the thing that made you change? Like what was, because remember how you just said, was it a traumatic situation? Was it what was it that, because you didn't always eat the way you eat, right?
Correct.
Right.
So
no, we used to be getting carne asada fries at 2:00 in the morning.
Man,
after the club.
Right. That spot by PSU. What was that little bar spot?
The tortoise. The tortoise. The wing.
Tortoise.
The wings.
Man. Breakfast the breakfast deal they had.
Man, I remember my man Chuck TV used to come through with them wings, boy.
Man. Nah, that was all the time.
Yeah, the tortoise, that was my spot. But to answer your question, Earl, I'm gonna answer it, but I'm gonna kind of give some context. There was obviously a lead up, right?
There's a traumatic
to different experiences. Man, I remember I was in the gym one day down here, hooping in some open run, and it was this big dude, man. He was sprinting the floor like a deer. He was older than me. At the time, I was like,
got a visual,
like 30. I felt like when I first observed him, he was at least maybe like 40, maybe 10 years older than me. But he had an exceptional motor.
Right.
After that game, they came over to me and asked me, man, how old this dude is? And I was like 35, 40. Like, nope. This dude was 60 years old. But he looked almost as young as me and had my kind of motor. So I was like, whoa. And he was like, man, I've been vegan for, pretty much his whole entire life. But the moment,
it was your attention.
But the moment that changed me was Mother's Day weekend, 2012 in Las Vegas. I was at a coach's clinic, Nike coach's clinic, and came back into the room after being out all day. And when you sit down and start flipping through channels, and I caught this episode caught my attention. It was some documentary about food. To this day, I still don't know. I've been trying to find that documentary.
What was it called?
But this documentary touched on some aspects that I never thought about or considered. You know, I heard things and you kind of just like keep them in the back of your head or whatever. But this thing basically, it talked about.
Was it a black dude?
It talked about the spiritual aspect.
Was it a black dude that made it?
Man, let me. I don't know. Just let me finish though, please. It talked about the spiritual aspect, the connection of consuming flesh, dead flesh, the karmic aspect of when any soul or being dies. Okay, one thing we know is that the toxin is secreted in the flesh upon death, especially if it's a horrific type of death. But that comes with a spiritual connotation that we consume, which causes us to be reactive, and it just ain't good on the spiritual tip. It talked about the pollution of wasting resources, the water that it takes to feed the livestock, the water that it takes to grow the plants to feed the livestock, the trees that had to be cut in order to have land for them to graze, shit like this. And then their byproduct, which is methane, is even more toxic than any CO2, you know what I'm saying, ever. So it was like, on all of these levels it was talking and touching on the spiritual aspect, and the fact that I still have an association to the demise of the earth through my purchase and consumption of meat made me actually get my butt up and look in the mirror and ask, where do I stand? Because I knew within myself, I consider myself a steward of the earth. I consider myself a lover of animals, and I consider myself a spiritual being. And when I realized I deteriorate my spirit through the consumption of flesh, when I realized that I have a hand in killing the earth, but I could go and be a part of any charity, any event, any organization that says they about saving this and doing good, I am not in alignment, and I'm a walking contradiction. And so in order to be in true alignment with yourself and whatever is that you believe, you have your behaviors, your attitude, and your energies have to be in line with that, with what you think and feel. And so from that day, I was like, well, shit, man, I think the choice is obvious. I think I'm done. And I walked down into the lobby. I still hadn't eaten. And when I walked down into the lobby, everything looked different to me. It was like putting on some glasses or taking off some glasses and seeing something in a totally different light, how all the lights just jump in the track, try to grab your attention. Utilizing the color spectrum of your chakras, okay, the life spectrum of energy in this realm, and they utilize it and flip it on us because they understand this shit more than we do. And when I saw that, and I went down the road, and I'm like, oh no, that's not got the Subway. Subway is quoted, touted, and marketed as eating fresh and healthy. It is the farthest thing from it, and we know even by fast food standards, it's not even close. Like, but let alone regardless of what they mark it up. So when that day forward, I mean, I went back home and I made it a mission for me to, I knew at that point I had to learn food. I had to learn vitamin and minerals and nutrition. I had to do some fucking studying. And I had to learn how to cook because, you know, Haas know and Daniel know, man, I don't do too much cooking. I'm eating out all the time, or I'm having someone come through and hook it up for your boy or for us or whatever. But it was the thing that motivated me to become more self-sustaining and expediting my knowledge in all these areas and learning myself, you know. If you're an electric being, you give yourself electric food, living food. You don't give yourself dead food. We don't, it's just, you know what I'm saying? The principle of understanding of that makes 100% sense to me. And when I look at the landscape and I see the nation dealing with all of this disease, all of this suffering, man, growing up, the kids was getting fatter. Yeah, as a teacher, you see it. The classroom is the micro of the world.
In the black community.
And you see these issues, and they all stem from diet. Every last function of human function stems from diet. Every last one of them. So when you were saying the diet is probably the number one thing that you could do to start with to have the most immediate effect and change, I totally agree. Because the diet affects your thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
it makes
emotion.
you less reactive.
Your emotion, yeah.
It does so many things. And then it shows the respect. You now automatically put yourself in alignment with the universe and show you whatever you say, well, what you do is what matters. And now the universe knows that I respect and I'm one with it because I have disassociated myself from the attachment of that which causes it harm. You see? And on that level, just like how they try to connect you in law. Oh, you was with dude. I didn't do it, but you guilty by association. Oh, you saw the shit, but you didn't say nothing, but you still guilty as the person that did it because you didn't say nothing. Okay? We all run around. I was like this. I love this. I love the earth. I love animals. But I would never kill no fucking animal. But I didn't realize I was paying old boy to do the shit for me. So I'm still guilty. I'm still on the hook, regardless of what I feel or say or do or not. So then that led to the ancestral digging, the knowledge, the background. And when I got into Egyptian Kemetic spirituality, when I started studying my people, where I come from, and stop listening to the shit that they detail for us over here was made for them by them, I realized that my people understood the universe way vaster than they do at this point. Without the technology, I understood that my people was in balance with the universe, understood that my people weren't meat consumers. That was huge. Now, I'm not saying all the
And when you say your people, who is your people?
When I'm talking about ancestrally speaking in general, like the Kemetic spirituality from where we come from, melanated beings originate from and disperse around this planet.
Africa? You know what I'm talking about, IG?
So when I found that out,
you see what I'm saying?
It was so powerful. And understanding the symbolism that we use, that I see being used today, that's been flipped, that's been reversed and upside down and turned around, and people don't understand and they get scared of certain symbolisms and things that have been demonized. It's funny, but they use the shit against us. I think I put something in that text in regards to reading and understanding symbolism through the pictures. When I was talking about the Christmas shit. Okay, but we talk about the Eye of Horus. We talk about all these things, like those things they say that's craziness. Man, that's craziness because they don't want you to get illuminated. Because the moment you get illuminated, you're a damn threat. You a problem. And you touch other people and illuminate them, it is a problem. We can't control y'all no more. And I should know because remember that one day, very first day, when we was going to practice, and I was like, man, we was coming late, and I remember we ran. He was hustling, getting up, and when we got to the locker room, you boom, 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 and then you run to the gym. I run to the locker room, put my shit on, and I walked to the gym like I'm here, like you know what I'm saying. It was part of that not being controlled aspect that was kicking in. It wasn't even a lack of not respect or not awareness of the urgency of needing to get there, but it was part of that I was expressing in that moment, okay? Because the truth of the matter was, I walked in on time. The motherfucker tried to teach me a lesson by telling me being on time was late. And in the bigger scheme of things, I understand what he was saying and what he was doing, okay? And I was like, okay, well, do you need to teach that lesson? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Did I stop anything from going down the way on time in a timely fashion? I didn't. He just wanted to teach me a lesson. But you see, the lesson that I overstood in that was that, yeah, I understand there's going to be times when I'm going to have to conform. But man, conformity without understanding, without a foundation is a lost soul, is like a robot. I was just talking to someone earlier today. They told me that they went on the strength of my word because of how they view me. And when I advised them to buy supplements for their health, and then they waited and checked it out later afterwards. And I told them that was the stupidest thing they could have did. Thank you for giving me that love and that prop. But man, we gotta be able to think. And we ain't knowledgeable about shit. We can't make informed decisions. But what we don't know is people out here is making them for us based on the fact of our lack of knowledge.
Let me
So
ask
that's how I got to all of that was basically through an epiphany, being
personal enlightenment,
and then learning.
you something else. Let me ask you something else. Was there a physical process that you tangibly felt through as you were really getting into it, like a detox sort of phase? Because I think that some people, I know even myself, are afraid of whatever. I'm not afraid of it. I ain't gonna say me like that, but I think some people are afraid of almost like if you're on a drug and you stop all of a sudden, you know what I mean? What they call
cold turkey.
Where you damn, what's that word? Where you huh?
Cold turkey?
There you go. I mean, if they try to get off and then they still feeling, I think that people are that physical
withdrawals.
Process that you go through when you get off of that stuff. It's tangible. It's tangible.
Check this out.
Because really, and then let me say this, really what I've heard, and I wish I was knowledgeable to say more details and descriptions and stuff, but based on the parasites that are in us, our thoughts and our reactions and all of our things that we think are us thinking and responding to things are not always us, because there's living parasites inside of us that actually control our emotions and our tangible reactions to things. So there is a physical process of detox. And when you go, so if you got to kind of describe that physical, actual, tangible process.
Man, I think I was somehow I was astute enough to understand that weekend coming back home. One of the things that I told myself was, if I'm going to start fresh, then I'm going to have to do a detox. I'm not just going to switch over and then think that things are good when things were still in you that I've been consuming, right? So I did a detox with that understanding, with the knowledge of understanding the parasitic influence on our emotions and our feelings and our desires and cravings, and then just based on like common sense, like if you just been putting in bad and you want to start off with some good, you gotta flush. You know what I'm saying? So I went in and I did a detox. Within those first week and a half, I was on a detox while I was learning and making this shift. So I didn't have any physical urges,
withdrawals.
That's what
I'm thinking. Yeah.
But part of that also too, what I credited was it was the conviction of when I learned what I learned that night.
Right. Yeah.
When I learned what I learned the night in Vegas, I was low key mad because really what they exposed me to was like I've been lied to this entire time. So it's the conviction of having a partner or a spouse and the trust be compromised because they lie or they cheat or steal. And you know, that invokes a feeling within you that makes you not want to mess with them, to distance yourself from that because you look at them now as toxic, as harmful to you and your health. And so when I had that feeling, and I've always had that feeling, and so I've been carrying that with me, and I've never. So it's like looking at a fine girl, but you like to have sex, and you really urge and aroused, but you know that girl got herpes or she got AIDS. You know, you like. You know, yeah, I'm cool.
I ain't doing it.
It don't even. It's not even.
Don't matter
at all. And so that's how I look at, you know, the modern day diet that they prescribing to us is like, why would I want to eat the meat? Like, yeah, it tastes good, look good, smell good, but none of that shit is good for me. It's gonna kill me as soon as I put it in me, regardless of that moment of happiness that I feel.
Right.
So, why would I do that? Nah, I'm cool. And it's been the easiest, but one of the best decisions ever made.
Man, I remember I went on some probiotics about a year or two ago. Went on a cycle for about 30 days or whatever it was. Man, I got about 10 days into that joint, and I kept feeling where it was like the diarrhea type feeling. I mean, just like the BGs, you got them bubble guts and that whole feeling. Man, it had one day where it came in about 10 days in where it was a major flush, like a major flush. Like stuff was loosening up and then it just broke through. And I could tell like that was a real tangible, like, damn, this shit like that. But I done heard people say where they did that, the detox where you talking about were really going vegan and cleaning out everything and seeing parasites or seeing things in the stool when they're actually going through it. Like you see something in there, and I can imagine seeing something like that. Like
trauma.
That's trauma. I'm not doing something that's gonna lead to that ever again. If you see something like that, like that's
a trauma.
But I imagine if we could see some of the stuff that's just in our stomachs or our intestines right now, man, them parasites, man, they in there.
I'll tell you the thing though, man, ultimately, because again, like we're just saying, this is like, to me, good food for thought for self-reflection. But like, when you talk about like having an understanding and know that there's a why it won't happen on the mass scale.
They don't want it. Yeah.
There's too many forces against it, and it makes too much sense. And you just going like, there's a why, and none of us ain't gonna be alive long enough to write enough books, leave enough, whatever it is. I mean, you lucky if you get to be a Dr. Martin Luther King, or you get to be, somebody who's Gandhi, or somebody, who and I'm not talking about these people perfect, but I'm just saying that you leave something, an imprint on the world that lasts well beyond your existence, man. I mean, for the most of us, we don't do that. I mean, we talk about there's just so many like varying factors, and so that's why I think that it's so important that you come to grips like with yourself, and you come to grips with like some real tangible things, and make them things that like you really like. Like I think I remember on the first episode you was talking like the LP. Man, LP was saying like he had like some surgeries or something and couldn't do, was hurt and had some, but I think that the point is, and I'm guilty of it. That's the reason why I know, because I'm looking at like where IG is, to where Matt, where you are, to where Hassan is, to where I am, LP and Beans, we all on a different
it's relative
level on this scale. You know what I'm saying? But in terms of like reflection, I can't see a person with true reflection going, they can't see the benefits in, healthy eating,
doing something,
working out. Like, right. You can't tell me that you don't. So now I go, so what's your why to why you don't do it? And now I go, that's where, as people, I have like a deeper understanding and just a patience, I should say, for why people don't like get saved yesterday.
But like you just said, the we all know, like you said, it don't make no sense not to. When you know working out, eating right, it is the best thing for you. Most people know that, but then it comes down to what our discipline is, what our motivation is, what is it that's going to drive you to say,
Yeah.
I'm making this change and have that personal enlightenment. Because again, sometimes you can see somebody else and that be your enlightenment. But a lot of times it's personal, and your personal enlightenment of what it's going to take for you to say, okay, this is the change I'm making. Because we didn't hear, as athletes, we didn't heard our whole life about what to do, what to eat, what to drink. They were telling, and especially in college, they kind of dictate to you, say, hey, this is what we want you to do. Here's the path of what some stuff you can do, even though they don't tell us about, not eating meat or doing this, doing that, but it's something that builds your body up to get you to be able to perform on the court. Right. So even after that, it all comes down to what your personal motivation is. How disciplined are you? Are you ready to make that change when, we should all be ready to make that change. Mentally, we should all say this because we know what is right. But everybody's personal journey is going to be different, of course.
Relative.
But again, and everybody, that's the thing. We all got excuses of why this, why that. And I know you guys heard it all. Excuses ain't nothing but a lie. Excuses are nothing but a lie. And why you can't do this, why you can't do that, why you can't do this. Oh man, I got kids and I got this.
Just like assholes.
And so, man. So we all it's a journey we all on, trying to figure out what's best for us, and trying to figure out who, what, why. Like IG, he in terms of that piece of it. In terms of eating right, working out, doing all that, you all the way in. You know what I'm saying? You all the way in that. You didn't hit that journey and figure that out. Which again, that's somewhere people got to get to in terms of that portion of life, where there may be something else we don't know about that you ain't got to yet. We don't know. We all got certain things we ain't got to yet in terms of